A 1974 D half dollar can be worth up to $10,000. That's only if it has one very specific double die error. Let's break down exactly what you need to look for. Most 1974 Kennedy half dollars are only worth their face value, about 50 cents in circulation and maybe $2 to $5 in uncirculated condition. But when you factor in minting mistakes, the value changes dramatically. Minor errors often bring $20 to $100, mid-level errors climb into the hundreds, and the most famous 1974 double die can push into the thousands. In this video, you'll hear about real examples of each, including the $10,000 piece. So let's start with the key error that makes this year so collectible. The most famous is the 1974 D double die obverse, often called the DDO. Look at the motto, "In God We Trust," especially the word trust. On strong examples, the doubling is bold and unmistakable. We're not talking about faint machine doubling, these are thick, split letters that jump out. Weaker double dies might sell for $50 to $150, but strong ones in mint state can reach $500 to $1,500. And in the top condition, with perfect luster and sharp detail, they've crossed $8,000 to $10,000 at major auctions. One PCGS MS-66 example sold for $9,200. But this isn't the only way 1974 halves can surprise you. Another error is the off-center strike. These are popular across all denominations, and Kennedy halves are no exception. A minor 5% off-center might sell for $20 to $40, but dramatic 30% off-centers bring $150 to $250. The highest premiums go to coins where the date is still visible, that's what collectors really want. One such piece sold for $210 in 2021. Now let's move to clipped planchets. A small curved clip usually sells for $20 to $50, but larger or multiple clips can sell for $100 to $200. One 1974 D double clip example brought $175 on eBay. But wait until you hear about wrong planchet strikes. Some 1974 halves were accidentally struck on quarter blanks. These are undersized, with missing parts of the design. Depending on grade and sharpness, they can bring anywhere from $500 to over $2,500. A particularly bold example sold for $2,250. There's also a small group of 1974 halves struck on foreign planchets. These are much rarer, and values can easily hit $1,000 or more, depending on the host planchet. But before we go deeper, let's connect why these errors happened in 1974 specifically. The Kennedy half had been around for only a decade by this point. From 1971 onward, all halves were struck in copper-nickel clad composition, with no silver content. But demand for the half dollar in circulation was dropping. People weren't using them much, and banks often had trouble moving the supply. Because of this low circulation, production numbers stayed high but quality control wasn't always tight. The Denver Mint, in particular, produced massive quantities, and that's where the famous double die occurred. This explains why so many striking errors, planchet mistakes, and double dies slipped through the system in 1974. So when you hold a 1974 half dollar, you're looking at a coin from an era when the mint was balancing mass production with dwindling public demand. That tension is part of why today's errors exist. Now, how do you actually identify the valuable ones? Let's go step by step. Step 1. Check the mint mark. The big money double die is on the Denver issue. Look for the D under Kennedy's neck. Step 2. Inspect the motto. The word trust is the prime spot. Strong doubling shows thick, separated letters, especially on the R and U. Step 3. Look for strike alignment. Off-center errors are obvious. If part of Kennedy's portrait or the rim lettering is missing, you might have a valuable coin. Step 4. Check the edges. A clipped planchet will have a curved missing bite. These are easy to spot once you know what to look for. Step 5. Watch the size. Wrong planchet strikes are smaller than normal, and sometimes thinner. If your half looks undersized, weigh it. A normal clad half is about 11.34 grams. Anything lighter might be a wrong planchet error. By following these steps, you can quickly separate a common 1974 from one worth hundreds or even thousands. But let's talk about real sales, because that's where the excitement really comes in. In 2019, a PCGS graded MS 66 1974 D double die obverse sold for $9,200 at Heritage Auctions. That's the record holder so far. A lower grade example, graded negative 58 Australian dollars, sold for $525. That's still impressive, given the coin's face value is only 50 cents. Off-center 1974 halves have sold for $150 to $225, depending on strike quality. A particularly dramatic 40% off-center piece sold for $240 in 2020. Clipped planchets are more affordable, usually bringing $30 to $100. But double clips or huge clips can cross $150. Wrong planchet strikes, especially quarter blanks, remain in high demand. One brought $2,250 just 2 years ago. And on eBay, smaller double dies, not the main DDO but other varieties, regularly sell for $40 to $75, with stronger ones over $100. Collectors also chase strike-throughs. A 1974 half struck through cloth, leaving fabric impressions across Kennedy's portrait, sold for $175. These unique one-off errors often sell based on eye appeal more than anything else. And here's the surprising part, many of these coins were discovered by casual collectors checking rolls from the bank. One lucky hunter found a strong double die in a $10 roll of halves, sent it in for grading, and later sold it for over $3,000. Another collector bought a bulk lot of 1970s halves for melt value and discovered a clipped planchet that later sold for $125. Stories like these prove valuable coins are still hiding in plain sight. So don't think you have to buy these at auction. They're still out there, waiting in circulation or bank rolls. Let's recap the top 3 valuable 1974 half-dollar errors. Number 1, the 1974 D double die obverse, selling from $100 in lower grades up to $10,000 in top condition. Number 2, wrong planchet strikes, including quarter blanks, worth $500 to $2,500. Number 3, dramatic off-center strikes, typically $150 to $250. Clipped planchets and strike-throughs are worth less but are still highly collectible. Even a $30 find from pocket change is a win when the starting value is only 50 cents. So check your 1974 Kennedy halves carefully. One of them could be a $10,000 treasure. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, you'll want to see what's coming next. Because there's a US dime from the 1980s that sold for over $8,000, and it might still be hiding in your change. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Your next coin discovery could be worth far more than you think.